and welcome.
It's the Graveyard Girls, a true crime and mysteries podcast.
It is indeed.
It is.
And we've got a joint case today.
We do.
So we've quite enjoyed the spooky theme that we've had, and our other ghosty episodes have done quite well. So we thought we'd discuss ghosts today.
We did.
For our joint case. So Natasha's going to kick it off with a bit of history about ghosts.
Yes. Jumping straight into it.
Yeah, you just jump straight into it, I think.
Okay. So yes, like you said, I looked into the history of ghosts. So I found that a 3,500-year-old Babylonian tablet may contain the earliest known depiction of a ghost.
Ooh.
Well, that is according to an article on the Smithsonian website.
Okay.
So I'm going to quote some of that article. The tablet is small enough to fit in a person's hand, and the clay tablet is part of a guide to exorcising ghosts.
Oh.
At least half of
Exercising as in like exorcism, or like exercising as in you're taking it for a walk?
Exorcising.
Okay.
Like the pee vomit.
Okay.
Not the jogging. We could jog with a ghost, I guess.
Yeah. It might need exercise, like a pet.
No, it's exorcising.
Okay. That's fine. I just thought I'd double check.
Exercise. But half of the tablet is missing, so they're trying to piece it all together. But the object still has enough detailed instructions of getting rid of ghosts.
Oh, why are we getting rid of it?
I think it's supposed... Well, I'll go into it a bit further later on, that like the ghost is part of a human soul, so you kind of want them to be at peace.
And reunited with each other.
I guess.
Okay.
So I guess you don't want to like not live, but live all eternal for eternal. Just by I guess that could be your heaven, just bothering people.
Yeah. I think I'd quite like to float about everywhere. And just
Are you a floater?
Yeah, I'm a floater.
So the directions called for the exorcist to make figurines of a man and a woman, prepare 2 vessels of beer, and at sunrise speak ritual words calling on the Mesopotamian god Shamash.
Ooh.
I've never heard of it.
I feel like you might be pissed by this point if you...
I don't know if you drink the beer. Maybe. Okay. If you've been up all night, you're probably tired.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And Shamash is responsible for bringing ghosts to the underworld, so he's very much like the... I imagine he's on the boat on the River Nix, travelling the people...
Oh, okay. Taking them there.
Yeah.
So Grim Reapers took them to their death, and now this guy is going to take them to the underworld.
I believe so, or this is what the Mesopotamian people thought.
Okay.
The text's final line urges readers not to look behind you.
Oh,
it's
no.
Like, ooh. This is the thing that made me want to be like, ooh, and that's it.
Is this like the Weeping Angels?
I don't know, because that's the only thing that they have on it.
Oh, okay.
The Babylonian tablet focuses specifically on removing an older male ghost by having young women lead him into the underworld. Okay,
so he's been lured by young, beautiful women. I mean, to be fair, based on how a lot of men act around women, I feel like that is a legitimate way to get rid of an old man ghost.
Yeah, this is the thing. The next line is what made me laugh. It's obviously a male ghost and he's miserable. According to Irving Finkel, who is a curator in Middle Eastern department in London's museum.
Okay.
So he's obviously a miserable ghost, and the only way to cure him is for a new woman.
Oh, okay.
So in early civilization like Mesopotamia, people expected to encounter ghosts.
Yes.
In Mesopotamia, souls could return as ghosts that manifested themselves as sickness among the living. Doctors were called on those suffering from these kind of illnesses to confess any sins that may have summoned the dead before treating them with with spells to placate the ghost.
Oh, so they more saw it like as it's a disease in a person rather than a floaty ghost in the air.
I think it's kind of like 2 versions.
Okay.
So I think a sickness is like, well, you're infected. Well, maybe that's them exorcising the ghost.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. So that's maybe that. So what is a ghost? The concept of a ghost is based on the ancient idea that a person's spirit exists separately from the body and may continue to exist after that person dies.
Mm-hmm.
So I then went in to look at the early ghost sightings.
Ooh.
So in the 1st century AD, Pliny the Younger recorded one of the first notable ghost stories in his letters. He reported that the spectre of an old man with a long beard and rattling chains was haunting his house in Athens.
Oh, it sounds a little bit like the one out of, is it Christmas
Yeah.
Carol?
And I just assumed like the chain one would be from the Christmas Carol one.
Yeah.
Not from all the way
So
back.
they've obviously took that from...
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the very first notable one of like the ghost with the chains.
I did always wonder where that had come around with the ghost with the ball
did.
and chain.
I did. And it's just like, I can't imagine them being chains in Greece, even though they are.
Yeah.
But like, that's
So was
not
it
my
like a slave?
Maybe. Because I can't imagine. I imagine like a drunk god as a ghost, maybe not someone in a chains rattling.
Yeah, but also, how, like, is the ball and chain, like, ghosty as well? Because otherwise, surely it won't be able to float because it'd tie it down.
I don't know.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't get it. Because people go, oh, I heard the ball and chain, like it's like a physical thing making a noise. But then if that's the case, how is it floating about? Because surely it's just pulling it down.
I think maybe it's just like, it's so you hear it, but it's not as heavy as it sounds.
Oh, right, okay.
Maybe. Because maybe that's like a ghost of a ball and chain.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
Strange.
Okay.
So centuries later, in 1856 AD, the first poltergeist, which is a ghost that causes physical disturbances such as loud noises or objects falling or being thrown around, that was reported at a farmhouse in Germany. The poltergeist tormented the family living there by throwing stones and starting fires.
Ooh.
It's a bit of a
It's
scary
an arsonist,
ghost.
yeah.
Maybe it was an arsonist when it was alive. Oh.
Or it's been haunting there for so long and no one's fucking noticed. It's just got really pissed off.
It's like, oh, I can start a fire. One of the most frequently reported ghost sightings in England date back to the 16th century. Do you know which one that might be?
No.
Anne Boleyn.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Which she came up in our witch trial season.
Yeah, she did, because some people thought she's a witch, so now she's a witch
Yeah.
and a ghost.
Yes, this is what I go into. So she's the second wife of King Henry VIII and mother
Did
of...
she haunt him?
I hope so.
Yeah, so do I.
So she's the mother of his daughter Elizabeth, and she was executed at the Tower of London in May 1536 after being accused of witchcraft, treason, incest, and adultery. I really hope she did.
Oh, I hope she did. And I hope she was one of those, like, really active ghosts, and Henry's just, yeah, you know, when the other wives are there. I hope she played tricks on the other wives as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So,
not, it's not their fault.
No, I know, but at the same time, also be like, you're my replacement.
Maybe. I wonder which house she was living in, because if it's the Hampton Court Palace, I've been there. That's quite nice. I imagine she would be haunting that area.
What's she doing, like, screeching down the corridors?
I don't know.
Oh,
It doesn't.
okay.
She's spotted a lot. I don't know if she's like makes noises.
Okay.
I don't know. So we don't know. Beginning in the late 19th century, Benjamin Franklin, who was one of the founding fathers of America, his ghost was seen near the library of the American Philosophical Society in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Some reports say that the statue of Franklin in front of the society comes to life and dances.
Oh, so it's quite a jolly one.
It's quite, yeah, he dances in the street. If you see a statue dancing, it's
You're pissed?
yeah. I was just like, okay. That's why I included it. I was just like, can you imagine seeing a dancing statue?
A bit more going home, like, oh, did you see this? And they'll be like, how was your night out?
Benjamin Franklin was dancing. You're like, okay. And as we're talking about America, I thought I'd talk about the 16th president.
Oh, okay.
So Abraham Lincoln has been reported to be known to make an appearance at the White House frequently.
Oh. So does he get, like, pissed off with what the new presidents are bringing in, and then he makes an appearance at one of the talks?
I don't know. I don't know why he makes an appearance. I tried to find out, like, other notable things from around the world, but it just kept coming up with, like, fake ghost stories, and I was like, so I couldn't find any, so it's just like the western part of the world that I could only find.
Oh. No, it's weird. I do find it a bit weird, the whole concept of ghosts. I like the idea of ghosts,
Yes.
and I hope ghosts are real, because I
Yes.
really want to meet one, but I'm also really sceptical. You know, when you hear so many stories, I'm like, well, he was obviously that. But yeah, so I'm not I want them to be real, but I am
want
very
them.
skeptical of a
Yeah.
lot of stories. Like, they're so easily explained, and that's what
Debunked.
what frustrates me.
As a kid, I've always wanted ghosts to be real. I'm not scared of them. I always think like it's part of the soul, and they've just not moved on, or they visit.
I just really want to see one, you know, like in the person one, because I'm thinking like there's so many different types of ghosts, but why can't we have the floaty ones where you can actually make out what they are? What's the point of having the invisible ones?
Well, I've seen something weird in this house. I've heard things in this house, so I don't know whether like what it was, but at the time of seeing it or hearing it, I'm just like, nothing. I can't scientifically work out what it was. So in my mind, maybe it was a ghost. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it was a ghost, but I have seen someone walk by the door by looking at it, not from the corner of my eye. So I'm definitely looking at it, and then I hear footsteps, and there's no one else in the house.
Ooh.
Not even dogs or anything. But I don't know, it's weird. As I've gotten older, the less happen. So that goes back to the thing I said, something about like when there's more females in the house, there's more activity happening. So I don't know if that happens. I don't know if that's ghost related, or the women are very
sensitive to it.
Maybe, I don't know. I look at it as a skeptic who may believe.
Yeah.
So I do like to watch ghost programs. I'm like, well, that's clearly fake. Or
yeah, I think that's what frustrates me with them, because like, I genuinely want. I don't think I've seen anything yet that makes me genuinely think, oh, that could be a ghost. I think every single time I've rationalised it in my head, and I don't like that, because it's like I'm waiting for one yet still to be so, I don't know, obvious. Yeah. And I've been to like so many haunted places, and I'm just like, everyone's like, did you feel that in the end? I'm like, no.
Yeah, because I went on a ghost tour for my friend's 30th birthday, and I was just like, I'm not picking up, I'm not sensing anything, I'm not seeing anything. I don't think it's haunted.
Because I think half the time the reason the people are scared in these places is because it's pitch black, like you can't even see your hand in front of your face, so it's heightened your other senses. So you're so conscious of everything else that you kind of weirdly make stuff up in your head, and I think that's what it is so many like bits of the time, because you think, no, nothing happened. It's when they go, did you hear that? And everyone else was like, no, I didn't hear. And I was like, yeah, it's because you've just imagined it in your head. Like, it's like that thing of, you know, when you're at home on your own and you think of weird things like, oh God, this might happen. Yeah. I feel like that's the same. It's the stress you put yourself under because you're already fearful of something might happen. Yeah. So you go to these haunted places, and there's me just like, I'm so desperate for something to happen. I'm sitting there like, waiting. I'm like, everyone's like, oh my God, did you feel this? And I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm genuinely waiting for something, and I'm just like, oh.
I think because like one of my favorite movies as a kid was Casper, so I'm just like, no, ghosts are real. There's a childness in me that I'm like, somewhere ghosts are real, because I like the idea of souls being real. Yeah. So then in my mind, like, ghosts are real.
Yeah, like I said, I'd love to see an actual ghost. I don't know. I'm not convinced it is a real thing. Like, I feel like there's supposed to be so many sightings and so many things, and I just think, no, it's just the way you're reacting to it. Do you know what I mean? I genuinely want one to just randomly appear.
It's like, I know what I've heard, so I can't be like, no, Amelia, they're... Yeah. I can't say what it was. I just heard some strange things. It sounded like someone walking. I've heard someone whisper when no one's here. Ooh. But it's not definitive. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is what it was. This is what it said. I can't do that.
Yeah, you just can't explain it.
Just something weird happened.
But no, I don't know. It's just, like I said, I do like the idea, but I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical. Which brings me on to my ghost stories that I found, because I don't for 1 second believe any of these were genuine ghosts. Well, I know from my last one it definitely wasn't a ghost. So for my first one, I'm going to take us all the way back to medieval times. Oh. And I spotted this one on History Extra when I was looking through for actually stuff for the witch trials, and I spotted this and I thought, I'll save this later for a case. And this one is the haunting of Frode River in the 13th century, and it's originally written in another language, so it's been translated in 1814. So already I was a bit like, have they added extra bits because they've translated it as some
or
of it
lost in translation?
Yeah. So, but it's made its way through, so I'm going to show it anyway, because this is not one I've heard of before. So I was looking for some kind of unusual ones that I didn't think listeners would have heard of. So this one is of a Hebridean woman. So a woman named Thorgunna arrives in Iceland in the wintertime. A local woman named Thurda notices the rich treasures that Thorgunna owns and had brought along with her. Thurda asks Thorgunna to stay with her in her home in Froda. So this would be Thorgunna moving into her house temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
So Thorgunna doesn't want to part with any of her things, but agrees to stay and work as a servant. Soon afterwards, Thorgunna is to fall ill and she dies. But she apparently leaves behind a warning.
Oh.
She says her bedding is to be burnt and for all of her possessions to be given to monks. So I thought, okay, a bit strange, but all right, if that's what you want. She claims that this is not out of spite, but as a way to protect the settlement from an evil that is coming.
I can't imagine there's many monks in Iceland.
No, neither did I, so unless they're on some weird pilgrimage.
Yeah, that's strange.
Or did they just everywhere bring one along? Or I'm thinking, like, because it sounds a bit Viking-y at the same time.
I can't imagine Vikings having monks.
No, but they used to steal them.
That's true. Maybe.
So is that how one's ended up there? Maybe?
I don't know.
I don't know. So anyway, as you have probably guessed, Thurda cannot resist the temptation and takes the rich bedding of Thorgunna for herself. Sure enough, the residents of Froda begin to become victims of a series of grisly accidents, ghostly attacks, and mysterious plagues.
Oh.
So it does make me think a little bit of the witch trial things where things go a bit wrong and they got to blame someone. So this time it's going to be a ghost. So after a funeral feast is held, they are interrupted by a crowd of walking ghouls that refuse to leave. These ghouls gather around the central fire of the main hall each night. So, like, they're just casually having dinner, and these ghouls apparently walk in and just, like, sit at the table, like, yeah, we're in charge now.
How do you know they're ghouls?
I don't know. And how did they know that they were? Which makes me think they're already pissed and it's actual people.
Yeah.
You see, it's very strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but all is okay because Thurda's son, Kartan, enlists the help of a local priest who holds a trial of the ghouls. So he puts the ghouls on trial.
Just because they walked into the room?
Yeah, and they won't leave. And everyone apparently isn't happy with the fact that they won't leave. So not very friendly that they're not letting everyone else in. But it's about to get even better because not only does he put them on trial, the priest is about to charge the ghouls, right? He charges them with staying unlawfully in the hall, and eventually the ghost, the ghouls' leader declares, "We have here no longer a peaceful dwelling, therefore we shall be removed." The end. So it's just like, one, how do you charge a ghost? Second of all, I like the fact that they're just like, yeah, okay then.
They're like, okay, yeah, I get it, I'll leave.
Yeah, but how do you put out the punishment? You know, like everyone else, like, you're taken to the gallows and you had your head chopped off. How do you say, okay, we charge you with unlawfully being here, and the ghost go, oh no, I must leave. Like, you're a ghost.
In some cultures, iron is like a thing to ghosts. So maybe if you lock them up, you chain them up with iron, that's how you get rid of them.
Maybe.
That's the only way I could think of.
But I just like the ending. It's just like, yeah, they take them to trial. How do you put a ghost on trial? Do you get, like, the witnesses?
Is it just, like, nothing there? It's just air?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but I like the fact
they
they're
saw
charging.
them coming. So it's got to be the people that they thought were ghouls.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just super pale. It's Iceland. You don't get sun for half the year.
And the sun's sort of shining a bit funny.
Yeah.
So you can't quite... I bet it was actual people. And because the sun was low, like, half the people are blinded anyway, so they think it's like a weird outline.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the rest of the village, they
go.
stood there. So they're staring at nothing in the trial, or...
I don't know.
That's what I don't get. So this is why I felt like it was a bit of a story that they kind of tell to, I don't know, children to pass down.
The Icelandic people are known for their Eddas, I think they're called.
Yeah, so I thought this was very strange. I was like, I'm not convinced this is an actual ghost. But I thought it was an interesting story because it was just so weird. It was just like, yeah, a ghost moved in. And also, what has all those ghosts got? It's not even her ghost that comes back. It's just a random group of ghosts.
No, they're just like, okay, there's a ghost. There's ghouls.
Yeah.
We've got to put them together.
Yeah, and they're going to come for dinner and not leave.
Yeah.
So we have to take them to trial.
It's so weird.
This is like, you know, when I was reading it, I was like, what the fuck?
It's like someone wrote a story and they didn't know how to finish it, and then they were just like, I want it to be 200 pages long.
Yeah.
And then they put two ideas together that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it just ended suddenly like that.
That's it. It's done. End of. So, yeah, I feel like maybe there is parts of it that have got lost in translation. Because it's a very strange story, if not.
Yeah.
And also, I like that it wasn't even her ghost. It was just, it sounds like it's some random ones, unless she's brought back ghost friends. Maybe she made ghost friends.
Unless she's the one who rallied the ghouls around, and she's like, we're not going to leave this hall.
Yeah, I'm putting my foot down.
And they're like, but she stole your stuff, not these people.
Yeah, it's almost like a weird, you know, like women's rights thing, but like for ghosts. So like,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe everyone in the hall was like, no ghosts in this hall. We won't serve any ghosts here. And then all the ghosts come in together. Yeah.
I have no idea. It's so strange.
But yes, it's very strange. And it doesn't get any less strange, Natasha, because I managed to find some more. And this one, well, this monk, another one, monk, maybe this is the thing with monks and ghosts and ghouls. This monk he's known as the Monk of Byland. He writes a few ghost stories. So I can't tell if they're fictional or supposed to be based off real things, but as we go later on, I feel like it might be a bit of a moral of the story sort of thing. But the first ghost that he tells us of is a ghost horse. So this one caught my attention because I was like, oh, okay. So this is the tale of a man trying to make his way home with a load of beans. During this, he will lose his horse to an accident. Now, I don't know what the accident, but I'm guessing the horse dies. I don't know, maybe it trips over or something. Or goes lame.
Or gets
attacked.
By the beans.
Oh yeah, too heavy.
Yeah.
Collapses under the weight. Quite possibly. But also weirdly and very distracting. And it's definitely not that type of beans. I was thinking baked beans. In like a big tub.
I was thinking James and the Giant Peach. Is that the one that sells the beans for the peach thing? James and the Giant Peach.
Are you getting that in Jack and the Beanstalk?
Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack and the Beanstalk. Oh, I am. James, it's a giant peach.
Peach.
Maybe I'm thinking
there's a hint in the name. You might be right. I don't know. It's been a long time. I read that as a child.
Maybe I'm just thinking of like giant beans.
Yeah, maybe.
Killing the horse.
So I think I'm guessing it's a large amount of beans.
Yes.
So the story goes that the man sees a terrifying apparition of a horse. And after he tries to scare it away, it begins to stalk him. Okay? And this is where...
Is he sure it's not just a horse?
Quite possibly. The spirit then appears as a glowing ball of light on a cloud of hay. So now he's got floaty hay. So I feel like this guy's a bit pissed. So initially he's scared and he's tried to shoo it away. But now the man finally confronts the spirit. So he spends half the time running away from it. And then afterwards he's like, oh, do you know what, for fuck's sake? All right, I'll just have a conversation with you. And a ghostly figure appears in front of him. So it's gone from being a ghost horse to a cloud on some
Pick a
hay.
lane, man.
Yeah.
Which is it?
And then now it's a cloud on a ball of light on a cloud of hay.
So
and now it's a man.
Yeah. Okay.
So it keeps changing.
Mm-hmm.
So the spirit claims that it means him no harm and asks to carry the beans for him. So it's like, okay.
No, someone is stealing your beans.
Yeah. The man agrees.
Yes.
Because, after you've been terrified for all that time, you're just like, oh, do you know what? Fuck it. You can carry my beans.
He's just lost his beans to a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not according to this story, though, apparently. The load of beans are, in fact, carried across the river by the ghost/spirit before reappearing on the man's back on the other side of the river. The spirit vanishes and is never heard of again. So it's just a helpful ghost? I feel like it's a moral of the story, like you should help your friends.
I think this man is just on drugs.
He didn't even have beans in the first place.
No. He's like, oh, he ate my beans. You never.
But he got them back. I like the idea, but also I like the idea. He's staggering across the river. This ghost just took it off him. He's like, "Ooh, lighten me load." Thanks.
And put him on his back.
Yeah, he gets halfway, or he just climbs out of the water, and just as he gets out the water on the other side, it's like, "Oh God, I've just been pulled back down. My beans have reappeared."
Yeah. It's weird.
But yeah, so I don't understand. Ghost.
No.
That was about 3 different things.
Yeah.
And this, I'm just thinking, this is all very strange.
Mm-hmm.
But this monk has written about it, so it must be true. The monk wouldn't lie.
No.
So this same monk writes the next one. And this may be a ghost looking for some redemption. So this spirit will stop 2 farm labourers and attack one. So a bit naughty to start off with. One of the labourers calls upon the Lord, and then the ghost confesses that it was in fact the canon of Nubra who was excommunicated, so that basically means excluded from the church, for theft. The labourer digs up a set of spoons stolen by the ghost, so I'm guessing the ghost tells him where these spoons are, and then the spirit is able to rest in peace. So basically, it attacks these guys not because it wants to attack them, but because it's like, I want to confess all my sins of the...
Stole some spoons.
Yeah. And now that you know where the stolen spoons are, I can't obviously dig them up myself, so I've got to get a real life man to do it. Now that I've done that, I can rest in peace. So it's like he couldn't tell them in his life because he was expelled from the church.
Well, maybe he didn't think of the consequences of stealing the spoons while he was still alive until he died.
Oh, okay. And then he was like, oh shit, no, I can't tell him where the spoons are, but I'm just so desperate to give him back the spoons. So, yeah, I feel like, and because it's written by a monk, I feel like both of these are, there's a kind of a weird moral of the story, like it...
Don't steal from us.
Yeah. Because otherwise, you know, you won't be able to go to heaven or whatever, and you're going to have to attack someone in your ghostly form to get them to sort out your crimes.
Also, it's a spoon.
Yeah, it's a strange thing to steal. I thought they were going to say, I don't know, something like worth a lot of money, I don't know, a relic or something. I don't know, maybe they were really nice spoons.
Maybe. It's a strange story.
Yeah. It's not even like it's a full cutlery set. No. What spoons?
It's his favourite spoon.
Oh, okay.
He wants his own back.
Plot twist. Someone had stolen the spoon from him originally, and actually the labourers got it wrong in the communication, and now he's just given back someone else's spoons that he took back. And actually what he was trying to tell him is that he didn't steal the spoons, he was just taking back his spoon, and everyone got it wrong and exiled him from the church for no reason. But the labourers just be like, yeah, I found the stolen spoons.
I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's very strange. I'm not going to lie. Okay. So, this next one, I thought of this. I thought this is very strange. And these were all back in medieval times. And I'm pretty certain they're all pretend. So, then I was sort of like, I want to find a few more of like my Victorian ghosts. Like my phantom pea flinger and flying flower pot ghost. So I thought I'd look for some more because I wanted to bring it into the real and sort of what we might think as a ghost turns out not to be a ghost. So this is a case from the middle of the 19th century in Falmouth, and this is a ghost hunt that goes a little bit wrong. Okay. So in the winter of 1849, conversations in local shops, alehouses and streets begin to speak of strange sounds in the night. There are a variety of versions of what was heard, and this varies from melancholy cries to screeching cries of pain, so very different. So one time it's just a bit sad, and then the next time it's, I don't know, it's in excruciating pain. Yet no one had been able to pinpoint exactly where these noises were coming from. Some claim to have seen a phantom, yet they could not accurately describe it.
Okay.
So panic began to build, and many wouldn't leave their homes at night time. Even fishermen stopped going out to sea. So this raised like a lot of fear. Like I'm imagining it's quite a small community at this point, and everyone, I don't know, a bit quite superstitious.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone's pooing their pants. So the entire town's police force was sent out at night to drive the spirit back to where it came. So this made me think back to the other story where it's like they're just going to have some authority. So this time, instead of it being on a trial, it's like the police are going to find the ghost and be like, go back to where you came from, or we'll arrest you.
Yeah.
How do you shoo a ghost back?
Police have authority over everything.
Okay. Including those in the afterlife?
No.
Okay. So, around the 30th of November, a group of men would then take to the streets and begin patrolling the dark lanes. Many were armed with guns, and shots could be heard throughout the night. So, random shootings going on.
Again, what's the gun going to do?
I don't know. I didn't know. They're thinking, surely it's just going to go straight through.
Yeah.
So, maybe... Did they understand that at that time?
I have no idea.
Evidently not.
No.
So, around the 30th of November, a group of men claimed to have seen the ghost and shot it, but the shots passed through it. obviously, as we understand, causing no injury. It was claimed that the reason the shots went through it was because the colour of the balls within the gunshot, like, you know, the little pellets, were too dark. So they suggested that they cover them in chalk to make them more effective. And they legitimately did this. Like, that's what they did.
Logic doesn't make sense.
No. So they're like, if I don't know, if they could see it, it's going to pass through, like, I don't know, you'd be able to see the full ghost. I don't know.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Or maybe ghosts, I don't know, can be killed by chalk. Maybe that's the thinking. I'm not entirely sure what their thinking is, to be honest.
No, they're like, the ghost is white. We need something white.
Yeah.
No. Continue.
Okay. Now, with a newfound confidence, they set out the next night. Around 1 a.m, the men apparently came across the ghost again. They fired, and it seemed their plan had worked. The phantom fell to the ground. However, according to local newspaper reports, the men were too afraid to go over and touch the beast until the sun had risen.
They killed someone.
Sort of. Not someone. Something. They did indeed go back in the morning, but what they were to find was not what they were expecting. Instead, the ghost was found to be, and this is a quote from the newspaper report, one fine fat pig.
Oh.
I liked how it wasn't just a pig, a fine fat pig. Was the pig flying?
Yeah.
Like in Babe?
Or was it just stood up on its hind legs like a pig would never do? Like,
I don't know.
they just saw something. They were scared shitless and they saw something. They're like, shoot. And then this is why police should not have guns. They get scared and they shoot the wrong thing.
But yeah, so, and then it continued a bit further on, and this happened to be the property of the well-respected host of the Royal Hotel, Mr. Dingley. So not only that, like, they've killed someone that they well-respect, they've just killed his pig. I mean, it would weirdly, in a way, explain the weird screeching, because pigs are quite noisy.
Yeah,
but also,
think about that.
Did the guy not notice his pig was loose? Was it just the pig on this night, or has the pig been about?
Maybe. Or maybe this guy bought a micro pig, turns out it was not a micro pig, and then he's just like, I release you.
Oh, okay, and then it's just been roaming the streets at night. But yeah, I would have thought, though, that they would have been able to distinguish a pig from a ghost. And also, I don't see how the chalk makes any difference.
The chalk would come off the bullet in the barrel of the gun.
That's what I thought.
It's not going to stay on.
But I don't know whether they're hoping it make like a weird dusty thing that will, I don't know, identify the ghost.
Stupid is what it is.
But yeah, so unfortunately, poor Piggy's dead. They're making sandwiches all round.
Yeah.
So, you know, not all bad.
I hope he wasn't... I hope he didn't lose his pet and he willingly gave it up. Otherwise, yes, it's sad for him that his pet died.
Yeah. So, yeah, turns out before you... I'm still very confused about the whole... They thought they'd get the police to tell it to go back.
I think it's just because, like, something wrong's going on. Police will sort it.
Yeah.
Even though they need Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, that's where they went wrong, Natasha. So we still don't know. Obviously, the ghostly wailing stopped after this, so I'm guessing it was the poor piggy that was, I don't know, must have been, maybe it was going out every night for a bit of a party.
Maybe.
And yeah, that's what it was. So, very strange. But then, this brings me to my very last little ghost day, and I think this might be one of my favourites yet.
Okay.
So, this is the story of the Plumstead ghost in Woolwich. And it was reported in a few newspapers. But this one's from the 6th of November in 1897 in London and was reported by Greater London's Police Illustrated News. So, I'm going to read to you the actual article because I like it. So, it's titled, A Ghost Appears Near Woolwich, with the subheading, Schoolboys Enjoy the Sport of Pelting It. Now, if anyone looks at the Instagram post that I'll be making for this, I'm going to include the image for the Police Illustrated News.
Yeah, this is what you sent me.
Yeah. Because it gets even better. That bit when I found it, I thought it was just one bit, but there's more to it, Natasha, and it's absolutely brilliant. So, Plumstead near Woolwich has for the past week been the scene of a ghostly visitation in which the spirit has appeared enveloped at night in white array.
Oh.
So obviously this is in a bit of, not Old English, but the language we use is not the same as today. So, several children who saw the apparition were so alarmed that they have been laid up from the effects. It haunts principally the grounds of St. James's Church and schools, where lads of the number of about 100 assembled to waylay the ghost, who was seen flirting about.
Flirting about? Ooh, okay.
The assailants hurled stones by which several panes of glass were broken, and on the police appearing, 2 of the ringleaders were arrested, but upon being brought to Woolwich, they were discharged. One night, the visitor visited the grounds of Mr. J.R. Jolly and was seen in a tree, arrayed in white apparel. The freak referred to have been traced to an individual of solid flesh living in the neighbourhood, and the ghost has been put under restraint.
Mm.
And that's where I thought the ghost story ended, because I just thought it's just one night, someone's been out playing pranks and he's got pelted by pebbles from schoolboys. But it's not, there's more to it. So when I was looking for other newspaper articles in the time just to see if it had any more information on it, I was looking for articles in the same year, and that's when I found an article from the Daily News, and it would seem that there was more to the story than just the boys pelting stones at it.
Okay.
This ghost had in fact been around for a little while, wreaking havoc. So prior to scaring the schoolboys in November, the ghost had been scaring little girls back in October, causing a few to faint from shock.
Okay.
It would seem the ghost was on a bit of a rampage, because it also pounced on a timid schoolmaster, grabbing him and shouting boo.
Okay.
Following that, it scared a couple passing through and visiting a deceased relative in the churchyard. So imagine you lay flowers and then something just jumps out and shouts boo.
It's a classic Scooby Doo villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. And this time he was pouncing from a tree, which made me think of when we spoke about our episode and we said if we were ghosts, one of us had died in a tree.
Yeah.
And as soon as I read this thing, I was like, oh my God. It's like, did we weirdly, not foresee it because we're obviously much later now, but did we predict this future episode?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I thought that was interesting. Then another schoolmaster. So he's not just happy with attacking one, he's gone for another. And this is where the story, I really like it now. When another schoolmaster was taking an evening walk, he heard a rustling in the hedges nearby and something shout, booyah.
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 Luckily for him, he'd brought his Newfoundland dog with him, which he set upon the ghost. The schoolmaster said he heard a distinctive yelp when the dog bit him on the buttocks.
I knew it was going to be his bum. I knew it was.
And so he was then, from that moment, in fact convinced that the ghost was in fact flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it brings in with the schoolboys, because it completely changed the concept of the story. He then spoke to the other schoolmasters and the schoolboys, asking them not to be fearful, and instead asked them to teach the ghost a hard lesson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Should they come across it? And that then brings us to the article that I'd previously read out to you. So this wasn't just a random thing and the boys come out. It was a planned attack.
Oh.
So not only did the schoolmaster set his dog on the ghost for a second time when it attacked Mr. Jolly.
Mr. Jolly.
But it was this schoolmaster who was the one that had got the schoolboys off the hook when he explained to the police the exceptional circumstances. Because obviously, if you remember, the police were called and 2 ringleaders were arrested. It was this schoolmaster that got them off because he explained, no, they weren't doing it for no reason. I told them to do it. So somehow that got them off the hook. The police did indeed catch up with the ghost, who had very badly bruised buttocks. Because he's been attacked by the dog twice now, we've got to remember. He turned out to be a local engineer, and he was placed under restraint in an asylum. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, fucking hell, how many twists and turns to this? So, the engineer had apparently become unhinged after losing a lot of money in litigation. It was his friends that secured him the place in the asylum rather than in prison. Now, I was a little bit gutted with the story. The only little bit is I couldn't find out the name of the guy, and I really wanted to find it out. Yeah. Because I was desperately scouring for other newspaper reports to find out bits about the engineer, and it didn't. And the last report I could find was the original one that I read to you, just as like, it was laid to rest. And I was like,
What's the guy's name?
Yeah, I spent hours trying to look for
It's very
another
interesting.
point.
It's very like Scooby Doo.
It is, but there were so many twists and turns in it because it sounds out to start off with
Yeah.
that it's just like some school boys like one of them got scared and they started pelting it at a ghost,
Yeah.
and it turns out the schoolmaster
There's more to
asked
the
them to
story.
it. Yeah, and like I said, this ghost has been a bit prolific for a while. And I also, because normally you think of schoolmasters at the time being really strict and scary, like, no, you must behave yourself. But it turns out this one had a bit of a
I think
sense
that's
of humour.
I think that's just society. We just see. I think is it Charles Dickens' fault that we see like the headmaster
really strict, terrifying.
Like,
Maybe it is. But yeah, I don't know. I just really like the idea as well that he set his dog up on it, and the reason they were able to identify it was by the bruises
His
on
bum.
his bottom.
Says, "Show me your bottom."
But yeah, so he set his dog on it.
So the moral of this episode is that ghosts probably aren't real.
No, they're more than likely very much, well, like we said before in the other ghosty episode, so if you haven't listened to that, it's called The Phantom Peefling or Flying Flower Pots. If you want to go and have a look at that, as we turn out most of these times, the ghosts turn out to be naughty boys and girls doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Which is the moral of Scooby Doo.
That is true. For the few meddling kids.
See?
But yeah, I just really like this. I mean, like I said, I think I really like the Victorian ghosts. So I've still got a lot more Victorian ghosts I can cover.
I think Victorian times is when they kind of like debunked everything because there was like spiritualism, but then they kind of like they debunked
It's weird.
most of
It hit a peak, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it was a massive thing, and you always associate it with that time. Like
Yeah.
it's
But
almost like it was created then, but it wasn't. It was around a long time before.
Yeah, but I think like Victorian times it was like, oh, they could make a profit from it because there's seances and stuff, and then there's people doing things on purpose that's clearly not a ghost, but they're reading the room and seeing what they can do to
what they
more
can get
money.
away with.
Yeah.
But I also like the idea that everyone is so superstitious at that time that they actually believe it to begin with.
That's what I like as well.
And I just like this. It's just like, oh, little girls fainted and were like laid up in bed for days. Like, I mean, to be fair, if you were really little, it probably would make you shit your pants. But
Yeah.
I also like the idea of that couple being in the graveyard. Like, I don't know, Uncle Bob's just died, and
This ghost is like, boo.
yeah,
Or the booyah.
yeah,
Booyah.
So,
Strange.
but you will shit your pants, especially if you're already in the graveyard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked that there was just this, I don't know, school teacher. He's half got a sense of humour and also half no nonsense. He was just like, I've just set my dog on you.
Well, yeah.
And then he was like, do you know what? I'm going to teach this pesky boy a lesson. I'm going to get the schoolboys to pelt him.
I kind of was like reading it as like the ghost is maybe a pedophile.
Oh.
That's why he's like hanging around with the kids.
Oh,
He
no.
might not have been,
I hope not.
because kids are easier to scare than adults, because he clearly scared grown-ups in the graveyard and everyone else. But I was just like, I don't want them to be there for that reason.
Yeah, so, but I also thought at first, it was a bit extreme that they sent him to an asylum, but then I was thinking, actually, would the asylum be nicer than the prison?
They're probably equal at that time.
Yeah, because, I think both are a bit grim, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently, it was just how they said, an unhinged man.
Maybe that
who
was
now
his
has
name.
bruised buttocks.
Well, he shouldn't have been scaring people.
He shouldn't have been scaring people. But yeah, I do like the little.
But it would
ghosty
be
stories.
fun though. Imagine like going around during those times scaring people
I think
with
it
a sheet
would.
on you.
I think I kind of still a little bit enjoy it now. I just don't
Yeah.
think we'd be able to get away with it as much. I mean, I don't think we're going to get thrown in an asylum if we do it now.
No. Wait, wasn't there a news story like a month or a year ago where someone kept dressing up as a ghost to scare people?
Oh, I don't know.
I'll have to find
Wasn't
it.
it the clown thing the other year?
It wasn't a clown thing.
Okay.
It was a clown. I'm sure it was a ghost thing. I'll have to look it up and send it to you. I'm sure there was something.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I just really like it. I like these ones that, like I said, you can debunk it. And the Victorian ones, it's just the way that it all happens. Like, I don't know, you see it's a dirty, grimy time, but actually I feel like everyone's having quite a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, that was the Plumstead ghost. Brilliant names as well, they always.
Plumstead,
How
yeah.
did they get
When
to
you-
Plumstead? I'm not sure if it was maybe like the name of the lane or something, but
I don't know, when you was going to say plum and then I wasn't sure what the next word was going to be. I thought you was going to say like plum suck. It's just a strange name.
there is some strange road names out there, though.
There are.
There's Butthole Lane.
Yes, there is. So, yeah, that's today's episode.
Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Like I said, as I mentioned earlier, if you liked this one, then go and look for the Phantom Peeflinger and the Flying Flower Pots. I'm trying to think what episode it was. I don't know if it was late
remember.
30s or an early 40s sort of episode. It came out just before Christmas.
Yes, it did.
So yeah, if you really liked that, then I suggest you go and have a look at that. And I think we'll maybe touch on some more ghosts soon.
Yeah, we do like
I
these
do
cases,
like these
yeah.
ghost ones, especially the Victorian ones. They
Yeah.
really capture my attention. So yeah.
So keep listening for where you can find us.
Yeah, and how you can, I don't know, how you can haunt us.
Ooh. Yeah.
Okay, and then hopefully it will go. So that will.
Thank you for listening to today's episode.
Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you did, then maybe you'd like to either contact us about our episode. You can find us on Instagram under the Graveyard Girls Pod.
Cast.
We think at least write pod in, and then you.
It's one of them. It's definitely the Graveyard Girls Pod on TikTok.
Yes. But yeah, if you head over to that, then obviously we make posts related to each episode. So if you want to drop something in the comments there, or you could send us a direct message if you wanted to. You can also email us through our Instagram. But if you want to go old school and open up your actual emails, you can email us on
The Graveyard Girls Pod at gmail.com.
Alternatively, if that's not the way you want to go, you can find us on our website, which is also linked on our Instagram,
which is thegraveyardgirls.co.uk, because we couldn't afford .com.
Yes. Yeah, on there you can send us messages through that, either direct messages. I think you can email us through that as well.
You can. You can subscribe on there so you could get updates if we
do them.
But most of the updates come from Instagram, so just check that out. But also on the website we have our own shop where you can get merch. More stuff is coming
very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think you can listen to that, and then have we linked in our Patreon on there as well? Yes,
Patreon. There's a link on there for Patreon. Or alternatively, you can go to Patreon directly and look for the Graveyard Girls podcast, and you could subscribe where you can. There's a couple of different tiers at the minute.
Yeah, they all vary. The very first one doesn't unlock anything. That's purely support for the show. But any tiers after that, any of the higher ones, I think the next one up is like £3.
Yeah.
That starts unlocking bonus episodes. And as we go along, we'll add extra little goodies in, like T-shirts. And then we're going to add more as we go along. We just got to organise our tiers a bit better now that we're adding new content. So we want to make some more a bit relevant to that and sort of expand on what we've already got.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, hopefully you want to come and join us over there. There's a lot more episodes over there. The bonus episodes include things like I suppose, like little mini history episodes.
Mini history,
some more. There is some more true crime on there.
True crime.
And mysteries.
The rest of the witch trial season.
Yeah, is on there. And
is anything that like we feel is interesting.
Is interesting.
It is interesting. That wouldn't fit in the normal podcast.
The mainstream one.
Yeah.
So a lot of our main episodes as well, they're linking quite nicely. We've got little sub-series up on Patreon. So if you liked the main episodes, you can go and have a little look at those. Because like for this is a serial killer one. Oh no. This is... Forget that.
We're tired. We do have another podcast if you could be so kind to check out.
Yes, very different from this. It's called Hidden in the Hollows.
It's scripted.
Yeah, and it's very...
It's acted.
It's terrible acting.
Loosely by us. But it's something... It was a thing we wanted to test out.
Yeah. So yeah, if you search for that, it is done by us, but it's not under the Graveyard Girl. So if you search for Hidden in the Hollows.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all of our little extra bits.
I think so.
So yeah, hopefully you join us again for another episode.
Yes, join us every week, every Wednesday.
And Patreon on Thursday.
Yes. And Hidden in the Hollows
on a Friday. We're so good at this. How are we ending it?
Just like that.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye-bye.